Cochran, and I'm a singer-songwriter and mix engineer, and I'm founder of the recordingrevolution.com. I've also been a long-time Pro Tools user, been over a decade now. It's my platform of choice for not only recording and mixing music, but writing music and creating it in the first place. So in this video series, what I want to show you is how to get started making music fast in Pro Tools. If you're brand new to Pro Tools, this is going to be perfect for you. We're going to kind of demystify all the windows and all the features of Pro Tools so you can get into it and get making music quickly. And if you've been around Pro Tools for a long time, you'll probably still pick up some tips and tricks and maybe some workflow ideas that will help you speed up the way you work inside of Pro Tools. Now today I'm going to be using Pro Tools 11 and the new Pro Tools Duet USB audio interface for all my audio in and out. Let's jump in and I'll show you how to get started quickly in Pro Tools. All right, when we launch Pro Tools, to begin with, the first thing we're going to see is information about how you want to set up your session. And you can create a blank session or obviously open a session you've been working on. But today what I want to show you is how to create a session from templates really fast. And you've got all kinds of templates here. We're going to look at music templates because that's what we want to make. And they have all kinds of genres here. And I'm just going to choose this rock template here. And I'm going to leave it at 24-bit, 44.1. Click OK. And they want you to name the session, so I'm going to name it the name of my song. Lift up your heads. Save it to my desktop. So now what it does is open up a brand new Pro Tools session already with tracks created for me. Okay, we can see a wide variety of tracks both here in the edit window and in the mix window. I'm just going to fit them to my window size here. Now a quick little trick, if you have fewer tracks than your screen has real estate and you want to fill them up a little bit, you can quickly hit Control-Alt-Command on a Mac and then the down arrow, and it will fill your window with all your tracks at equal size. So in this template, we've got a drums track with some loops already built in, bass, organ, guitar. These are all virtual instrument tracks. I'm going to show you those in a second. These blue tracks are audio tracks that are empty that we can record audio into. Got a click track set up. And then everything's pre-routed for a headphone mix and even a reverb, delay, and chorus return. Now real quick, let's take a little overview of Pro Tools so you get really familiar. The great thing about Pro Tools is there are only two main windows. This window, which is called the edit window, and this is where you're going to spend most of your time recording, editing, tweaking. I like this view a lot because it's how I can get an overview of my song. And then if you hold Command and equals, you can flip over to the mix window, which is very traditional. It's like a mixing console. This is where I can blend my tracks together with faders and pan pots, set inputs and outputs, and insert some effects and plugins. And I'll show you all that as we move on. Up here in the setup menu, you can choose playback engine, and that's where you're going to choose what your audio interface is. Pro Tools calls it the playback engine. What interface are you going to play back audio on? In this case, I've got the Pro Tools Duet selected. If you have another interface, you could use that as well, because Pro Tools will work with just about every single audio interface on the planet. You can also set up your I/O here if you wanted to go ahead and get default. So you've got I got my stereo outputs here and then inputs. Click default, and it's just going to pull up the stereo or two mono inputs that my Duet can use. Now back in the edit window, we've got the transport window here, which allows me to start, stop, rewind, record, enable, set my tempo, count off, all that great stuff. If the window disappears, you can always get it back from the Windows menu and scroll down to transport. Let's take a listen to the drum loop we have here. Now, I'm not a big 80s rock guy necessarily, so I'm going to kill that reverb return down here. Awesome. Now, this drum loop is coming from a virtual instrument, which is called Boom. Okay, and this comes free with all Pro Tools systems. It's a great drum machine. It's got a great 808 feel, but you can change up all the sounds, create your own patterns, and turn them into MIDI performances that you can affect later, and I'll show you how to do that. In this template, we've also got a couple other virtual instruments that come free with Pro Tools. We have a bass guitar preset set up on Expand 2. Now Expand 2 is probably one of my absolute favorite plugins because I use it to create any instrument I can think of. If I need string patches, if I need any kind of weird pads or synths, this plugin has it all. It's a creative toolbox. It's great for the songwriter. So right now I've got it set to a bass guitar in the template. If I record enable this track. All right, full pick bass. The next track we have is the DB33. That's already been instantiated. It's a great organ plugin. If I record enable that organ track, you can hear what we got here. Super dirty sound, which I love. It cuts through the mix very, very nice. And you can have a million different organ sounds right here. You can even flip over and look at the cabinet on the back and change how you're driving it, how piercing it is, how dirty it is. It's a pretty cool plugin. And then I got one more track here. We have another instance of Expand, and this template already has an electric guitar sound built in. And all of these things I'm just playing on my simple MIDI keyboard here that's plugged in via USB, and Pro Tools will recognize just about every USB or MIDI keyboard. So you can see how Expand can be pretty much any kind of instrument you can imagine, and we're going to use more of that later. Now let's plug in my guitar on one of these audio tracks and see if we can get some guitar sounds inside of Pro Tools. Now I'm going to delete this guitar track here, so I'm going to actually play real guitar. And I'm going to double click this audio track and call it guitar, so I can play real guitar. Up in the I/O section of the track, I'm going to make sure I have on my interface instrument 1 selected, because that's where my guitar is plugged into on my duet. Record enable the track. Now to make this a little bit more interesting, let's get a real guitar sound. In Pro Tools, under the plugin menu, there's a very cool plugin called Sans Amp. And one of my favorite presets is the JMP1. Dial down the drive a little bit. Very cool sound. Now let's use the routing in here and go ahead with this reverb send. Already set up. It's set to send some of this track to this reverb return. So we'll unmute the reverb return here, which has a reverb plugin on it, Deverb, which comes free with Pro Tools, already set up to a plate sound. And I'm going to use this fader just to drive a little bit of the guitar into that reverb. If you don't like that sound, we could go back up to Deverb, make it a room. There we go. Now it sounds like I'm playing an amp in a real room. Now what I want to do is flip back over to the edit window and set a tempo that's a little more appropriate for my song. Over here in the transport window in the tempo section, you can see that it's by default in this template set to 105. My song is closer to 80. So if I know the exact tempo, I could type it in here. And you can see it takes all my MIDI and goes ahead and slows it down. Much better. So now I can record enable my guitar, press return to go back to the beginning of the song, and press play and jam along. Perfect. When you feel good about it, simply choose the file menu, save, and we're done. Well, there you have it. That's how easy and fast it is to get started making music in Pro Tools, thanks to the power of templates and all the ones that are included with your Pro Tools software. Now, in the next video, I want to show you how to start from scratch, make your own sessions, creating tracks, and setting up Pro Tools to work the way you want to work. We'll see you soon.